Hello there, and welcome back. I'm Martin, and today on Daddy Rolled a One, I'm going to be doing just a quick video to talk about some fun gift ideas that I think would be appropriate, especially for any kind of DM or GM in your group. I'm just going to be going over a few, and then what I would really love for you guys to do is please drop into the comments and let me know about some of your favorite products, things that you would think would make a good gift idea. And then what I'll do is I'll gather those up, as many as I can. And then in about 2 weeks, so that should be the week of December, I think 3rd or 4th, whatever that week is, that Monday, I'll put out another video where I'll just kind of go through some of the products that you all suggested. And I'll try to put links in there. So this is just a really quick one. It's really off the cuff, off the top of my head, but let's jump into it and talk about some of these products. So first off, I wanted to talk about these adventures from Old School Essentials. These are, I have 3 different ones here. So they have more than this, but these are the 3 that I have. So Halls of the Blood King by Diogo Nogueira, I believe is how you pronounce it. And then there's the Incandescent Grottos. This is by Gavin Norman, and he is the person who created Old School Essentials. And then you have Holy Mountain Shaker by Luka Redchik. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. For Old School Essentials. So these Old School Essentials, that's the game that I run for my daughter. So I run basic 1981 D&D for her, but Old School Essentials is a modern version of those rules, and it didn't change any of the rules. All it did was kind of repackage it in different layout, and that's what I use at the table so that I don't accidentally spill anything on my original rule set from that I got as a kid. But if you look at these adventures here, so they're these fun little hardback books, and they're roughly, well, they're a little smaller than comic book size, and makes great use of the inside pages for the maps. So here you have your map of the dungeon here, and then you've got some random happenings and then some vampire traits, which are key in this because this whole particular adventure is about vampires. So this is the one I'm going to talk about the most because I just really love it. So you can kind of see like what the layout looks like. So it's just super useful at the table. Here you've got your table of contents and your adventure areas. And then if you see some things in here, how they put together. So like here is a particular NPC in the adventure, and everything you need is just on that one page. You don't need a lot of table flipping and things like that, which is one thing that I like about adventures like this. Here's the Blood Spider Court. And just, like, how exciting is that? It's really just super creative. I just really like stuff like this. So now, again, this is statted for Old School Essentials, but if you're a 5e player, you're going to recognize pretty much all of these terms: AC, hit dice, attacks. You can ignore THAC0 if you're a 5e player and just look at this number in the brackets here. That's what they need, like what they get on their hit roll. So they roll a D20 and add a +5 when they're trying to attack, right? So you've got movement, you've got morale. So you can kind of make some things up if you needed to, if you wanted to run this as 5e, but why not give Old School Essentials a chance? You can get the rules for free online. There's an SRD for Old School Essentials, but I love these adventures. I love the art. And these would make a great gift for a DM. So just really quick, just to kind of look at the other ones. So this is Incandescent Grottos. And the art in this one is just so fun because it's very fairy tale like. So you see, and then you've got your random happenings here. Some more art. So this is kind of like sort of a dark fairy tale, but not super creepy. Like, look at these guys, are so fun. Okay, so and again, you've got your maps on the inside covers, which is just another thing I love about layout, especially in old school books. They tend to like use every part of the book, and they're so much more creative than some of the stuff coming out from the bigger companies. And then lastly, you've got Holy Mountain Shaker. So here's your map. And then you've got your challenges and your collapse table that you would need if you read this particular adventure. That would make sense. And also art in here is just, look at this. It's just really fun, very colorful, easy to read, easy to run at the table. And again, just really, really creative. So that's the 3 adventures from Old School Essentials. Now, here's a book I haven't really talked about too much. Wickerpunk. Okay, love this book. This is by Crowland Publishing, and it's a folk horror supplement. And so this is created for 5e. However, I got it as an old school guy. I don't play 5e. I got it as an old school guy because there's almost no mechanics in here whatsoever. So, I mean, as you're looking at this, like, do you see there's no, like, There's no mechanics in here. So, yeah, you can use this with 5e, but you can pretty much use this with any class and level system. So I really love this book. It's so creative. It's very immersive in terms of getting into the idea. But like, they break down the time periods of how you could play a game like this. And so the first up, you've got Stone Age, right? And so then it's got all these inspirations: films, TV, books, comics, video games. And it does that for every time period: Bronze Age and Imperium. And then you've got the Dark Ages, you've got Medieval. And for every one of those, you get like those inspirations of like different places where you can look for different, to get different ideas. Okay, Early Modern. And it even has steampunk and clockwork in here. And again, these aren't mechanics. These are inspirational ideas. This is like how you can set your game and like things that you might want to change to run a game like this. And then it talks about what kind of adventures are you going to have. You're going to have mysteries. You're going to have assaults, treasure seeking, protecting the target, or a base that's under siege. Like, these are different types of games that you can play with this book. And then you've got, diplomacy and trade. Okay, and then it gets into things like, describing how to do villages and what weird things might be in there and your encounters that might happen in those types of areas. And then it goes through the different character classes, and it talks about, you have your barbarian here and like your player hook. And then it describes like what would a wild barbarian be like, and then what would a what they call industry barbarian. And it does that for every class in 5e. You've got bards, clerics. So the art alone is just super. Like, look at that plague doctor. Love that. But your druids, your fighters, right? And then you've got your monks. And then paladins, rangers, rogues. And then magic users. So they put all magic users into one, very old school, which I love that. Okay. So you can kind of get a sense just from those pictures what kind of book this is, but it's just chock full of ideas for trying to do like this kind of this folk horror type of setting. Super useful. I use stuff from this book in my daughter's game all the time. And again, I don't play 5e. She's running, again, I said 1981 BX D&D, basic D&D or Moldvay basic, whatever you want to call it. And I use this book to get ideas to put into her game, especially when they're traveling in the wilderness. All right. Now, a couple other things we can look at here would be Dragon Magazine. Apologize for the noise, guys. I guess my neighbor's gardener's here. This is Dragon Magazine. So these are out of print. Okay, so this is going to be more on the expensive side, but if you have a little bit to splurge, try to see if you can find one of these old Best of Dragons. So there were 5 of them. I have 3. I've got 1, 2, and 4. I don't have issue 3, and then there was a 5th one. But this is Dragon Magazine back in the day. This was where we went. We didn't have blog posts. We didn't have stuff to get ideas. So we went to a magazine. And what these Best of ones do is collect all these different articles that were really popular throughout different time periods of Dragon, and puts it all into one thing. So you can see here, this is the table of contents from the first issue, and it goes all the way back to the birth of D&D, like the very, very first part of D&D. So you see, and I have talked about this before. If you see my video on the history of Dragon Magazine, I've got the first part up so far, but the first illusion class appears in here. But the first ranger class ever appears in this particular one, and the first bard is in this particular magazine. So that's volume 1. Volume 2 has even more character classes. We've got all these different character classes in here. So you've got the anti-paladin, the samurai, healers, berserkers, scribes, ninjas, and the new improved ninja. These were not official character classes at the time. They called these non-player character classes, but most people use them for PCs. They tried them out. So these are all from the very early part of the game. You can see here 1976 up through 79. And then from the Sorcerer Scroll, these are articles written by Gary Gygax, basically on the theory of the game. So you want to know about the history of D&D, he's talking about things like realism versus game logic, what the game is and where it's going, character social class, evil, law versus chaos. So all of that is like, humans and hybrids, and books are books, games are games. All of these articles are crucial to kind of like understanding the history of D&D, and you can get that in this particular one. And then a bunch of different monsters and stuff in here. This is a really fun one. Might have been my favorite one back in the day, although I really like this one. And then really quick here in issue 4, you've just got, or volume 4, you've got more character classes. So now we're getting into like the 70s, or I'm sorry, into like the 80s. But you've got bandits, bounty hunters, the cloistered cleric, the death master, the duelist, the jester, the scribe, and the smith. You see some of these are by Ed Greenwood, so he would have been using these in his own Forgotten Realms campaign. Creative campaigning, all these different articles. So again, this is a great gift for a DM to kind of just, think about, different ideas that can be put into a campaign that are, non-edition specific, really. A whole thing in here about castles and saintly standards and weapon damage. Well, that one's very specific. Runes. Like, look at that. You could use that in any kind of fantasy game. So that's that. And then the last item that I have, this was a gift that was sent to me from these folks. It's called the Fate Mill, and they are from Tower House Creative. So thank you so much for this. It's this giant D20, and they call it the Fate Mill. And the idea is that as a DM, you could roll this and then use the results during a game. And they give you some different examples down here. But as you see, it's giant. And it has all these different ideas here, like maybe, or maybe but, no but, yes and, or yes, or no and, yes and. Okay, so all these different ideas. And if you've watched my channel and my campaign prep videos, that's a lot of like how I run the game is the players tell me what they want to do, and then I have to decide whether it's realistic, what their chance of success is. And usually it's a yes, but, or yes, but if you fail, there's going to be a consequence and things like that. So they give you all these ideas for how you could use this. And just an example is, can I see anything down the hallway? And then it tells you like what happens if you get one of these results, like how could you interpret that? Right. So if you get a yes, but yes, you see a thin line in the outline of the door at the end of the hallway, but the rest of the path is dark. Or yes, and you see a thin line outline at the end of the hallway, and you hear a low voice in a hurried conversation. Okay, so that's the idea of using this. I love stuff like this, and I definitely are going to be using it in the game that I run for my daughter, and I'll write about that and post a video about it in a future video. But I thought that was a really fun idea. So definitely check them out. I'll put links to all these, including on eBay where you can try to pick up Best of Dragon, but I'll put links to Wickerpunk and then the other adventures that I talked about, as well as the folks at Tower House Creative. You can see their URL right there for this Fate Mill die. Okay, so that's it. Please, again, remember to go into the comments and post some ideas of things that you like. If you have a link, put the link in there. And then again, I'm going to try to collect them all into a future video of gift ideas for, particularly for DMs and GMs of tabletop role-playing games. So that's it for today. Thank you very, very much for watching. And if, I apologize again for the noise, but if you could please like the video, and so it doesn't get buried by the YouTube algorithm. My last few videos just haven't performed as well as some of the other ones. And so little by little as that happens, they start to get recommended less and less. So I would really appreciate if you could like it, if you could subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, if you could share my video on social media to let other folks know about it, get them to suggest their ideas of some great products. And you know what, even if you're selling something, you made something yourself and you think it'd make a great gift, go ahead and put it in the comments. And if I'll try to get to as many as I can. But yeah, leave a comment below. And while you're also down there leaving a comment, you'll find links where you can join me on social media, Facebook, the site formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all of those places I'm at. You'll find links to my blog, and you'll find links to my shop where you can buy a great gift idea for the holidays. I've got t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, posters, notebooks, tote bags, all kinds of things with exclusive designs that you can only find at my shop. So I would really appreciate you checking that out. That's the best way that you can support my channel right now, is by buying something at my shop. All right, so that's it for now. And again, thank you very, very much for watching. Happy gaming, stay safe, and I will talk to you next time. And now for the bonus content, what I was drinking and what I was listening to while I was working on my list for this particular video. So drinking wise, I poured the last of this drink that I made years ago, a barrel-aged Black Manhattan. I barrel-aged this in the spring of 2018. So a Black Manhattan is just its standard Manhattan proportions, but so I use Rye Whiskey, and I think I used Templeton 6-year, if I remember correctly. And then instead of sweet vermouth, you use Averna Amaro, which is an Italian Amaro. And it has kind of, it's got that kind of bitter herbal a kind of flavor profile to it, and it kind of helps the drink not be as sweet. If you've been following my channel and you've watched this part of the videos, you know I really like Amari, which is the plural of Amaro, and so I like that. So I made one for myself in my little Nick and Nora glass here. There's a whole story behind why this glass is called Nick and Nora. Let me know if you want me to tell the story in a future video, and I can relay that. And I added cranberry bitters, which I think go really well with the Black Manhattan. I homemade these years ago. And I made these fun little labels, and I handed them out as holiday gifts. So I put some cranberry bitters in here. So here's my last of my barrel-aged Black Manhattan, sharing with you guys. Guess I could have saved that for Thanksgiving, but I chose to save it for you guys instead. All right. And then what I was listening to, this album, this is from Verve Records. This is Ella and Louis. Okay. So this came out in, I want to say 56, sorry. And so Ella Fitzgerald, the queen of jazz song, and then Louis Armstrong, jazz trumpeter. My dad was a huge Louis Armstrong fan. My dad wanted to play the trumpet, so I grew up listening to him talk about Louis Armstrong all the time. So on this particular record, what's great about this, they're covering all of these standard songs, the American Standard Songbook, okay? But they both take turns singing, but they do it together. But Louis also plays the trumpet. And the thing is, if you know anything about Ella Fitzgerald's voice, it's like pitch perfect. She never misses a note. And she has a very big range. And she is one of the best singers, period, of any genre of music in American history. And then you've got Louis Armstrong, who has this gravelly, gritty voice. He doesn't often remember all the words, and so a lot of times he'll like, they'll be singing and you'll hear him in the middle of the song, like he stops because he realizes he makes a mistake, and he'll say like, "Sorry, Ella," and he just lets her finish it up. And it's hilarious, but it's also just very endearing that, like, because he's a musical genius, he just wasn't really a singer at heart. He was an entertainer, okay, and he was a fantastic trumpet player, but as a singer, so matching him and his sort of less stellar singing voice with Ella Fitzgerald, that works perfectly. The reason I'm showing this record now, this is one of my Desert Island albums. I'm going to be playing this during Thanksgiving dinner. It's the perfect record for that. I know my dad will appreciate it, but I used to listen to this music with my daughter when she was very young, and we'd eat dinner. And so she knows all these songs as well. So there you go. That's the record. I highly recommend listening to it. It's to me, one of the perfect albums in jazz history. All right. So that's it. And again, thank you so much for watching and putting up with all the background noise. Hopefully it's not too bad and I can edit some of that out. And I will talk to you next time.